feel like the children would be very embarrassed right now if they saw me doing that, but
No, they wouldn't.
everyone dance at least once a day.
You have to. We're recording day, Heidi. That's like the beauty of this. Oh, hello, Heidi Hauver. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm great. That dance was great. You nailed it. It's so great to have you on the OhHello Pod. It's so great getting to know you over the past couple months. Big thanks specifically to Adrian Salamunovic, who introduced us a couple months ago. Such an awesome executive who was the co-founder of Millions.co and has done a lot of great things throughout his career. I wanted to have you on here because you and I hit it off in such a great way of being two kindred spirits of talking about empathy, talking about leadership, talking about mentorship, talking about giving advice, giving guidance, making sure that teams feel supported, understanding that the modern workforce and modern workplace is evolving. So, Heidi, without further ado, why don't you tell our audience a little bit about who I have the pleasure of speaking with?
When I think about evolving, I think about just like, I'm a work in progress. That's so hard to describe myself. I've spent most of my career on the people side of the business, working with some really innovative companies. I've spent the large part of the last 8 years spending a lot of time working with founders at all stages and ages, which is something I feel really privileged doing. I would say, like, if I would describe myself high level, and you can go read my LinkedIn profile and look at the deets, but I'm an innovator. I'm a creative. And that's kind of really what fuels me. That's what gets me up in the morning. I love that connection. We're going to talk a little bit about that later. But I think, when we think about that evolvement in our career, I am still really excited about what I get to do every day. I wish that for everyone, And so when I think about what have I achieved, and I mean, there's a lot of things I'm really proud of. I've loved that I've been able to go and be the first people executive for 3 to 4 companies at this stage already. I'm doing it again right now. I love the ability to build, to create, and to innovate, and to create a place where everybody can thrive and be their best selves. And
that's so important. So you're in Ottawa, I'm in Chicago. Help us understand a little bit more about just what has shaped your leadership style. What has, as you have ascended into your role as a chief people officer and running different organizations and hiring and cultivating hundreds, thousands of people throughout your career, what's some of the special sauce that has made you into the executive of who you are today?
What a huge responsibility that is, right? When you think about
this or that,
like when you think about being a leader, like first and foremost, huge responsibility. I've done a ton of self-reflection. And so I think I've learned that I personally really need to feel engaged as a leader, not just in what I'm doing, but also who I'm doing it with. I'm inspired by people who think differently, who bring energy to the collaboration, who aren't afraid to challenge the status quo. But it's really, whether it's in my day job or in the work I'm doing with the community, I'm engaged by that creating, that innovation. I love a great brainstorm. Like I can brainstorm with anybody on any topic. It's kind of like my superpower. But I've learned that I'm kind of disengaged when I'm not being able to connect with people or do work that's meaningful and make an impact. And this is important because it's shaped kind of the leader I am today. So I've learned that I need to lead with curiosity because leadership isn't about having all the answers. You learn that over time. It is about listening. It's about co-creating. It's about bringing out the best in others. And so whether I'm building a business, advising founders, leading a team myself, it's going to be the innovation, human connection that really fuels me. I want people to feel heard. I want to feel heard. I want them to feel seen, and I want them to be challenged in the right way because I think that's really where the magic happens.
How do you build a strong, inclusive, resilient team culture in this day and age when teams are primarily remote and or hybrid?
There's one conversation that I've dozens of times with teams, at every stage, from early stage founders, those folks with the game-changing ideas to the seasoned leaders who are kind of scaling global teams. The conversation always starts with get inspired by what other people are doing, but write your own story. And let me explain that.
Please.
It is so easy to fall into the trap of recreating someone else's culture playbook. And we've all read Netflix's playbook from before, and that's ever evolving. That's just updated again, like in 2024 on the website. And I encourage you to go look at it to get inspired. However, we fall into that trap because we think we can replicate that company's success. And it doesn't work that way. You have to take the time to build a strong, inclusive, resilient culture in 2025 by doing it intentionally, rooted in your own values, with your people, with your purpose. I don't think culture sticks unless it's real. And I think when it reflects the lived experience of the people inside your company, it can't reflect, just trends that are happening outside of it. And really what I'm saying is be yourself, be the leader you are. It is good enough. That's going to be your edge. That's going to be what differentiate you and your company. Most importantly, it's going to be the most authentic. So when you're welcoming people into your organization, they go, oh, this is actually what they sold me. This is what they said it was going to be like, and not pretending that we're someone we're not. And I think, again, I applaud those companies that want to have great best practices and do a great place to work, playbook and all that. But you still need to make it make sense for you and your team. So get inspired by what other people are doing, but be you and be out.
I love that. Yeah, it's so important to look around and understand the culture that you're creating with the people that you're creating it with, because people are different at every single company you go to. The features, the benefits of the products that you're selling, the ICP of who you're selling to, the motivations of the workforce of the people that are joining each company. As a chief people officer, as someone who advises a myriad of different companies and has spent so much time helping other executives on their journeys, you have made it clear to me how important it is to you, and I feel similar, how important it is for everyone at all levels to talk to more and more people in a fractional way to understand how they value mentorship, how they value expert advice. How do you see platforms like OhHello expanding in the new age, in the new ways that we are working, and knowing how important mentorship has been throughout your career?
Well, listen, like so many of us, I started my career with no network, no clear North Star.
Of course.
And I'm grateful for the mentors who have taken time to have real conversations with me about what was possible, right? Like they helped shape the leader I am today. More importantly, they actually helped inspire me to keep reimagining what I could achieve. And everyone deserves that opportunity, right? To live their best life, to do their best work. Often that begins with someone who sees the potential you have in you before you can see it in yourself. To this day, like I still have mentors I turn to who help me navigate my journey, because it's a journey, right? It's not about the destination. And platforms like OhHello help create meaningful access. They make it accessible to people, a shared space where anybody can connect with people who will help champion in their growth, help celebrate their wins, right? You think about like having someone walk alongside you, help you sort of navigate the puzzles you're trying to solve as you're trying to navigate your career. That's huge. And I'm a big believer that I often get people say, well, one day I want to become a mentor. I'm like, don't wait. Create those opportunities now, not only for someone else, but for yourself. I mean, as a mentor, what you get from mentoring someone else, I often add, I'm like, I'm getting so much from this relationship because I'm learning, I'm growing. And I often thank the mentor for the experience because I get so much out of it. So I would say like there's no reason that anyone today can be mentoring. Everybody's at a different, like in their journey. Someone else can learn what you learned even a few months ago.
So well said. I love that specifically. Whether you are 30, 40, 80 years old, you're constantly evolving and learning, and there's something new taking place. Tell us, feel free to name drop a few different mentors that have made an impact on you. Like, pay forward.
I've had some great mentors over my career. I remember a really senior HR leader taking time with me very early in my career. And I looked up to that person so much, and they taught me a lot. I will say to you, though, one of my greatest influences on my career so far, on my life, certainly has been my husband, not because he's my life partner.
Call him out. Give him a...
But I deeply admire him as a CEO. I've worked with him. So through that experience, I learned firsthand how to lead with intention and impact, and I often reflect on the ways that he shaped my leadership style. Lessons that have stood out to me, kind of, the power of a growth mindset, how critical that is, no matter where you are in your journey. right? Whether you're an emerging leader or when you're just kind of transitioning to something different, as you're heading to a stage where you're maybe kind of changing the, regular full 40-hour work week to maybe just working on stuff that you're really excited about. Growth mindset really is going to drive, I think, just purpose, the importance of choosing curiosity over certainty, and that belief that leadership isn't about solving puzzles for your people, but not about controlling outcomes. He's taught me that words matter, who you listen to and why matter. And most importantly, I think he's shown me that the strength in guiding through suggestions, not instruction. And the same thing goes with parenting, right? Like, it's really easy for us to tie our kids' shoes, but we don't teach them how to tie their shoes. They're never going to be able to do it on their own. And I think that influence from him and other mentors that I've had that have really inspired me. The best leaders don't just lead, they actually quietly inspire you to lead others as well. And I think that's beautiful.
The inspiration behind that is great. I really want to hit home on the words matter piece. That was really important because we all, no matter what role any of us have, you're constantly talking, communicating, whether you are typing on keys and hitting a bunch of zeros and ones, or if you are conversing in this way. Words really matter. And
I'll give you an example. I'd love to give you an example.
Please.
So when we get started out as a leader, there's this journey we go on where we kind of become, we don't want to, nobody wants to be a micromanager, but we kind of go through those motions, right? As we're learning to, exercise our muscles and figure out kind of where we fit in the broader kind of, relationship. And I remember I used to use the language like, am I you want me in your kitchen, or do you want to get out of your kitchen? And it made everybody kind of uncomfortable, but they got the point. And so I changed my language over the time, and I started saying, is this a lean in moment or is this a lean out moment? And that language gave my team permission to be like, Heidi, this is a lean out moment. I'm like, okay, cool. Awesome. I was like, they could tell me, get out of my kitchen without actually telling me to get out of their kitchen. And so that, to me, like, the words really mattered there because I could equip them and empower them and honestly motivate them to speak up and share what they needed with me in the most respectful way possible. So, like, that's one example of how, for me, words really do matter.
Words matter. Heidi, if there was one word, with that said, to sum up what is important to you for this year, I know we're a third of the way through the year, nearly half the way through the year, but if there's one word that is sitting at the forefront of your brain right now, what would that one word be?
Reimagine.
Ooh.
I think about it in a lot of different ways, right? I think it's a time in the world to reimagine what's possible, and everybody kind of thinking about what's next. And so from a career perspective, what an exciting opportunity for all of us to rethink what could be possible with work that we're doing today. I appreciate the vulnerability that a lot of people have and fear around, these advancements and how quickly they're moving. But again, with a glass half full mindset, I'm thinking, I'm reimagining what the future looks like for me, where I can take the things I'm really excited about and actually AI to manage some of the things I'm not as excited about. And as a creative, ultimate co-collaborators. Like, I mean, in an hour, I'll use 5 different AI tools to leverage what I can do here. It takes me to here. And so for me, it's all about reimagining what is possible. And I think this is an opportunity for everybody.
Heidi, this has been fantastic. Reimagine is such a great word to explain to explain what we're building at OhHello together. We're so excited to have you be a part of OhHello, and thank you so much. This was a great discussion. Really appreciate it. Thanks, everybody, for listening.